When you play the Game of Thrones, you
subscribe and like,
or you die. There is no middle ground.
Alright, hello YouTube, welcome back to the Grease Goblins YouTube channel. Today's video, we are going to be talking about, did Oberyn actually poison Tywin? It's something that I go back and forth with all the time. And I'm interested to see what you guys think. So before we get into the video and I talk about my thoughts, I want to hear what you guys think. Do you guys believe that Tywin was poisoned? Or do you believe that that was just kind of George R. R. Martin just kind of drawing some parallels with Tywin's life, where on the outside he was kind of a lion and all this, and he was the golden lion and all that, but on the inside he was kind of just a nasty person? But, you know, you could take it that one way or another way. So, before we get into the video, if you guys like to like, subscribe, and comment, please do. It helps the channel grow, reach our people that might like this content as well. We are pushing for 1,000 subscribers, so if you have not already subscribed, it would be great. And also, I wanted to say in this video, before we get into the video as well, if you guys have any ideas for what I should do for 1,000 subscribers, like for a video, let me know. At the moment, my idea is doing a Winds of Winter kind of overall predictions video, but for pretty much all of the characters. So, any major characters, any more minor characters that are just kind of interesting, like a patch face type of character, I'll just do in one big video, and that'll kind of be our 1,000 subscriber video. But I want to get your guys' feedback, because you guys are the community, you support me all the time. So let me know if you have something you want me to do. Now, getting into the video. This theory comes about because Tywin, at kind of his funeral and all that, is stinking. Like, an unnatural amount of decay, quote unquote, and his bowels just smell terrible. Like, it is not something where it's like, oh, it's a dead person, you know, it just, the smell comes up, like an Arya chapter, where when Arya is working with the Faceless Men, she notes, you know, death doesn't smell great, but it's not something that we draw a ton of attention to. Now, I believe there's two ways you take Tywin's smell. You take it how I said at the beginning of the video, where Tywin just was a rotten person inside, and when Tyrion shot him, you know, George used that as a way of showing that Tywin was just, you know, an ass. Or you can take it the way of Oberyn, that Oberyn, realizing that he really had no opportunity to kill Tywin when he was in King's Landing, decides to use poison and decides to kill Tywin. Now, we get a little bit of hints of this from kind of our last part with Oberyn, where he's saying basically when he beats the mountain, him and Tyrion, they're going to get out of King's Landing, they're going to go back to Dorne, and they're going to crown Myrcella. That was his plan that he tells Tyrion anyway. So it would make a lot of sense for this whole thing for Tywin to be poisoned. So, and then he's out. Oberyn's out, and then you would have Tommen on the throne with Cersei. It's a good overall plan from Oberyn if that is what he actually was intending to do. It is convenient that also Tyrion would shoot Tywin on the shitter. And something that I always kind of pushed back on this theory was I thought it wasn't fitting, because I thought Tyrion being the one to kill Tywin without the poison made sense more, because Tyrion really is Tywin, but just shorter. That's what he is, right? We see this with Tywin's issues, and I think one of the big reasons why Tywin not only hates Tyrion because he is small and is, you know, a dwarf or whatever, he also hates him because he sees a lot of his worst qualities in Tyrion. And that is something I think people do a lot in this world, where, you know, bad relationships with fathers and, you know, mothers and all to their kids are because they see a lot of their bad qualities in their children. And they try to get that out of them, but it just, that's how they are, it's who they are. And that's kind of the case with Tyrion and Tywin's relationship. So I always was like, I didn't like the idea of adding another layer onto it with Oberyn. But in the end, I think it, you know, thinking about this more, and I've seen a lot of your comments on past videos where I've talked about this, and whether that be in a chapter review, or I think I've done a video similar to this a lot earlier on in this channel, where you guys kind of gave me the opposite kind of idea of that, where I believe it's fitting that Oberyn would have a plan and would use poison to try and kill Tywin, and still have all the things I just said about Tyrion and Tywin's relationship still make sense. So I have actually flipped my views. You guys know this if you've watched some of my videos, especially my older ones. I flipped opinions on certain things. So that's why, you know, I would say always challenge me on the videos that I'm putting out. I'm not the all-knowing. I'm not George R. R. Martin. I don't know everything that he, you know, I'm just someone that interprets it in the best way I can. And I do believe that Oberyn did poison Tywin. I believe that eventually Tywin was going to die to Oberyn's poison regardless. And that Tyrion just kind of sped up the process and caused a lot more chaos than Oberyn would have. Because in this situation, if Oberyn had poisoned Tywin and Tywin dies because of this poison or whatnot, right? It would have been pinned on Dorne, right? So Dorne would have been an open war probably with the Lannisters. That was what Oberyn's plan was initially. Now Tyrion being the one to kill Tywin creates a lot of interesting things going on here, because the plan was already to get Tyrion out. So if Tyrion, you know, just leaves, right, it's a lot different, I feel like, in the circumstances of how Tyrion would be looked at, because it's very hit or miss on whether Tyrion actually killed Joffrey to the public's eye. A lot of people do end up believing that because Tyrion's the imp and all that stuff, but it is interesting to think about what could have changed if Oberyn had lived, right? Because Tywin still dies in this situation, and then Tyrion goes to Dorne with Oberyn. It would have been interesting the way Duran and Arianne and all the Dornish players would have handled that situation, because in reality there would have probably been open war between the two factions, and that could have changed a lot of events kind of going on in the world, right? But that is really the video. I wanted to talk about in this video why I believe Oberyn does end up killing or trying to kill Tywin, and why it does logically make sense into the story, and how I've kind of changed my mind on this topic. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think that I'm wrong? Do you guys think it was just Tyrion, there was no real poison, it was kind of a metaphor that George was using? Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and I will see you guys all in the next video, or in the next video. I hope you guys all have been enjoying the content this week. I decided to bump up an extra video. Also, I hope you guys like the more images being put into the content as well, and all that. So I will see you guys in the next video, and bye, guys.
If you think this has a happy ending, you haven't been paying attention.